Yo, 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 what's up, everybody? Welcome to another fantastic episode of Bullsitting with your boy Ham Solo. And I got some fantastic guests. As usual, I got my brother Matt Likes Games here with me today. As of right now, Loke is currently out. He went on ahead and let me know I could tell everybody that he literally just had a kid just a few days ago. And he was like, go on ahead and just let everybody know, so they're just not thinking that I quit out on you on the podcast or anything. So I'm here to let y'all know, first and foremost, brother had a kid. Brother's working at home with his kid and stuff like that. So anyways, let me welcome the guests that we have on the panel today. It's going to be an absolutely fire show that we got for you. We got Agent Deli with us. I previously had him on Behind Them Sticks in the past, and I also had our other guest, Mr. King David from the Iron Lords podcast, here with us today to talk about gaming, the things that's been going down, some of the news that's been going around and whatnot. Man, oh man, oh man, I have an excellent episode to host today. So let's go on ahead and get into it. The first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to ask everybody on the panel what's been cracking, what's been going on, what they've been playing. First, let me go over to David. What's cracking with you, brother? What's been happening on your side?
Right now I'm playing Fortnite since they're doing the whole Star Wars thing, and I'm a Star Wars fanatic. So got out my Darth Maul, and now they're doing it's like we have to attack Darth Vader. So I just love how Fortnite is able to plug and play different scenarios because I'm using Titanfall OEM gear, and
I told you.
Yeah,
I told you.
Right.
I told you.
Right on
every
cue,
single
too.
time. Every
Right
single time.
You should make the show
you.
5 minutes late just to get it in.
Right.
Just trigger. Playing Jedi Survivor, and right now, literally, like before I jumped on, I was on a run and loop hero. I'm on my 12th loop on right now. So yeah, I'm trying to beat my personal best, which is 25 loops. It's absolutely nuts, but yeah, that's what I'm doing. And I download Tears of the Kingdom. Don't come for me. Just you know, my Switch needed to update because the last time I played my Switch was Skyward Sword, and I said, I was gonna sit there until I can get Breath of the Wild 2, and yeah, it's called Tears of the Kingdom now. So
Gotcha. All right, cool. Sounds good. Deli, what's cracking with you? It's been a long time, brother.
It has been a minute. Yeah, it has been a minute. It's nice to be able to be surrounded by fine gentlemen like you guys. David, I have not had the pleasure of meeting you. I believe you are an Iron Lord, and that is, I'm blessed to be in the presence of an Iron Lord. And yeah, so it's nice to be here and be able to talk about games and stuff.
I believe I follow you on Twitter. I don't know.
I don't know. I've only talked to Addict. That's the only one that I know.
Well, you talk to probably mutually. The most important Lord. That's my guy.
So, what you been playing lately?
I just wrapped on Redfall. I spent 14 hours on it. I beat all of the neighborhoods in the first map and the second map, and then completed all the optional campaign missions, and then of course the campaign missions as well. I started New Game Plus last night. Finished the first mission, and then I put that away. I just am on the final act of Forbidden West, and I think the only other game I'm playing at the moment right now is the new Season 3 Reloaded of Modern Warfare 2. So
that's dope. That's what's up. Man, I'm really happy to have you here, though. I have you back and whatnot. It's been a minute. I can't go this long again without talking to you again, brother. Definitely can't do that. But yeah. Matt Likes Games, man. I already know what you've been up to. We last night, me and Uso Vinny were like, yo, you gotta join us on Sea of Thieves. We kept saying that over and over, and you're like, sorry, bud. Tears of the Kingdom, bud.
Nope.
Not playing with you tonight, bud. Not happening. And I was just like, bro, come on. And you just wasn't having it. How has Tears of the Kingdom been to you, brother? And I know you just got your new dual setup with the monitors and whatnot.
Yeah.
So, I mean, you're living classy, you're living elegant. What's happening?
It's so much. I'll tell you, man, it's so much better. Deli mentioned Redfall, and I'll tell you what, he said he beat that in 14 hours. Me and you beat that. I've probably nearly 30 hours on my character. Just because of my playthrough, and also, like, I've done the same missions so many. Yeah, 4 other people's playthroughs. I've done the same mission so many times. I mean, I'm good on seeing that game until there's an update. I'm all set. I don't need to see any more. I don't need to see any more of that game until we got an update out.
Yeah.
But I beat Redfall with Ham. I mean, playing Zelda Tears of the Kingdom, Diablo 4 beta, Server Slam just started this past hour.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's a crazy weekend. It's a crazy weekend. And you also mentioned 3.5 of season 3 of Modern Warfare 2, so I got to do that as well.
I didn't even think about that. Jeez Louise.
Yeah.
Shout out to my brother Loke in the chat right here, spamming
Loke, what's up?
Like a freaking maniac. Hold the line, hold the line, hold the line. King, what you got to say about that, brother?
You know, they definitely got to hold the line. We don't bend, we don't fold, we don't break.
No,
all right, cozy coming in messy as usual.
What? Why am I messy? Why am I messy?
Oh yeah, see, she don't even know.
What did I do this time? I do something all the time, but you have to remind me when and why I'm messy this particular instance.
Anyways, we're gonna keep it moving. What have you been up to? What have you been playing as of lately, sister? What's happening with you? Good to see you. It's been a while.
Yeah, because I've been busy.
Yeah.
I've been working. Work
Been very busy.
is my life. But no, I've been playing actually Minecraft Legends.
Okay.
Yeah, I've been all about that Minecraft Legends life. I just, it's kind of like my thing, it's really fun. I didn't expect to like it as much because I thought the Minecraft Dungeons was okay. It was fun, but I literally put a lot more time into Minecraft Legends than just about anything. And coming into the weekend, of course, there's the State of Decay update that has me saying,
wow, that's right.
Hell no. I already know. I'm not ready. I'm not emotionally ready because people are going to die.
Jeez Louise. All right, that was pretty forward. Gotcha. So, anyways, we got quite a bit of topics to talk about today. It should be a really fun show. Like I said, shout out to Loke. Brother isn't able to be here today. He's at home taking care of the newborn. So, congratulations to him. Going ahead. Let him know congratulations in the chat if you got the moment to. Dope brother. Wish he could be here, but he is unable to for the most positive of reasons. So I ain't mad at him at all.
Yes.
But to keep it moving, let's go on ahead and get into the subjects of today, which there are some interesting ones that we're going to be talking about. But the first one we obviously got to touch on is the game that just dropped at midnight. So this game right here, Tears of the Kingdom. Let me go on ahead and get a few thoughts from it from you, Matt, specifically because you've been playing this game. I want you to tell me what it's like building and getting around and doing stuff in that game. And then from the rest of you that may have been able to play or haven't been able to play it, I want to hear your thoughts and expectations of the game, seeing that it's, it's looking rock solid on Metacritic and everything right now. Everyone's loving this game. GameStop has freaking lines around the building for this game. Matt, go on ahead and let me know. Spit your bars and tell me what you think about this so far.
So I haven't played as much as I would like to play. I got into the open world. I got the Ultra Hand. I'm still in the sky area on the first part, so I haven't done any exploring of actually exploring Hyrule yet. But dude, the way you're introduced to the open world in that game is phenomenal. I mean, the building is fantastic. Just the dumb things that you can do. I've spent more time just creating stupid things than I have actually progressing any sort of story in that game so far. Just because that's what's fun to me. But like, that game is going to be a problem for me, most likely. I can already feel it. I can already feel that game's going to be an issue. I don't know. That's like all summer probably. I'll be playing this. So yeah, not as much time as I would have liked to have had on it by now, because especially since I've been playing Diablo this last hour. But yeah, it's a fun time so far. It's a very fun time.
John Wolf in the chat says 33 FPS DLC equals game of the year. Do you agree with that, Matt?
I've never understood that DLC thing. I have never understood. I don't know what you want them to do on the Switch. I mean, it's a miracle that they got that running on the Switch to begin with. I don't know what more you can do with that thing.
Fair enough. All right, Deli, what do you think about this game so far? Are you picking it up? Is it something that you're looking forward to playing, or is this something that you're passing on?
I'm gonna pass on it for now. I will pick it up later in the year. I still have a couple things in my backlog I need to pick up and play. Diablo, of course, is coming around the corner. My whole house is gonna be playing Diablo, so I think that takes a little bit more precedent at the moment right now. And then whenever Starfield, Forza, and Spider-Man come out, I'm gonna prioritize those kinds of experiences, because I do want to see, as a game developer, I do want to see what my peers and cohorts are actually doing to push this current generation of technology. But I know for a fact that Tears of the Kingdom is going to be like another 300-hour game for me, like Breath of the Wild was. So I'm gonna section some time off later in the year, probably in the winter time, to be able to sit down and play it, because I don't want to play it for like an hour a day, and then over the course of whatever time, I feel like I'm just gonna spend too much time doing that. So yeah.
Fair enough. Before I go to King David, I want to hear from Cozy, the resident Switch player, that one that loves Zelda to death.
Shut up. You are the instigator.
Well, Loke's gone, so I got to do something.
Oh my goodness. You already know the answer to this. I don't like Zelda. Like, if you give me a Zelda game, I'm going to be like, what is this? And throw it. It's like, I don't know. It's not for me. I don't like it. No interest in it. Thought Breath of the Wild was literally one of the most boring games in the universe for the hour that I played it, because my friend was like, oh, this is so great. You try it. I tried it for an hour, which is,
Mr. Joanna, plug your ears.
Way more generous than I give most games. 30 minutes is usually the max I'll give into a game of time I'll put into a game, and then before I'm like, I never want to touch this again. But mechanically, it's kind of solid as far as like, an open world game, and like, because most open world games I am not going to play. But I thought it was like cool how you could just do whatever you wanted, but at the end of the day, it was still very, 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 very boring. And from what I've seen, it's like, this is more of the same. If you like that, great. If you don't, which I didn't, I'm not going to touch it.
Fair enough. And last but not least, very, very honest.
I mean, that means that,
I'm sure, for some.
It means that 6 out of 10 review that Gfinity gave is a review that speaks to you personally.
She agrees. King David, brother, what's cracking?
Yeah,
how do you feel about it?
Didn't get a chance to play anything. Downloaded, just doing it right now. So I'll get a chance to play it this weekend and give my opinion on it. But other than that, I know I'm gonna love it if they give the dungeons like they said they did. I loved Breath of the Wild. It was a reason to have a Switch, even though it was a Wii U game. This game is from the ground up made on the Switch, so it should run better. Should have a little bit more feature sets. Other than that, it's Nintendo. They've been making this game since Breath of the Wild 1, so obviously it's going to be as polished as it's going to be. It's going to be probably one of those games where it's not going to be too many uploads of bug fixes or patches to the game. Nintendo's pretty solid when it comes to that. So, and the review scores reflect exactly what I thought it should be. It's just Nintendo balling on all cylinders. This is one of their top franchises, and obviously they have a quality control people to monitor the quality control people to make sure that Miyamoto's visions of his games reach people's expectations. So I'm cool with it.
Fantastic. So this kind of moves on a little bit to my next subject, because I mean, as we may have known, Phil Spencer had an interview not that long ago, right? I think we all know that.
He sure did.
And he was talking about, talking about one game to rule them all is not exactly the direction that he's going or whatnot. How do you feel about what he said and then seeing people line up the way that they did for this game, seeing the midnight launches where GameStops were just packed full of people? It looked very classic. It looked very much like Halo 3 days of going, to the store and waiting outside and seeing a bunch of different people super excited to play the game and stuff like that. I'm gonna go over to you first, King David, to see what your kind of thoughts and processes are on something like that, hearing what Phil said and then seeing another platform crush it with one game.
Oh, it just tells me that people don't have comprehension skills and they didn't pay attention in writing and reading class. Because he didn't say a game can't do that. He said great games alone can't do that. He didn't put the alone there. So if anybody had comprehension skills, they will understand. He said great games are not going to make people throw away his PlayStation. You see, Denny's PlayStation is right there. Zelda came out. He didn't throw away his PlayStation or run out and go buy a Switch. It's not going to change somebody from one ecosystem that they're in. You have to do a hybrid of different things. So yeah, great games are going to come out on all platforms. That alone is not going to win a war. You have to have what they did with the Rog Ally. You have to do stuff like that. You have to do stuff like what they do with LG and Samsung, put Game Pass inside the televisions. You have to make your platform so diverse that it reaches the average consumer that would not pick up a console. Because if you keep talking to the hardcore like us actually have all of them. So we have the ability to purchase every game. It's not going to sway any votes. This is the reason why Jim says that, PlayStation fans or the base is not enough. Is because you reach this glass ceiling and you can't get past a certain number. And that number seems to be 120 something million. And he's like, for the quality that we're giving, we should be reaching 300 million people with a game. But that's not happening. And that's the same sentiment Phil says. So when he says that he wanted to reach 5 billion consumers, 5 billion consumers is your cell phones. It's Microsoft's thought process. How can we get our products in as much hands and in much faces as possible? And conventionally selling your console doing the old model is not going to change. So yeah, how many of those people were new Switch owners that were standing out there purchasing Tears of the Kingdom? Maybe 2%, right? But the majority of those people there had played Breath of the Wild and they've been waiting for this thing for years. The majority of the people have been waiting for as long as the Switch has been out to get the sequel, right? So it swayed a couple of people on the panel. Didn't sway Cozy. Cozy don't care. It didn't sway Denny. Denny don't care. So Nintendo needs to learn how to reach other people. Yeah, they will sell to the fan base. It will be the highest rated Metacritic game in the world to the people that are in the know. You're talking about an individual that wants to dominate outside of the norms. So the conversations, people really need to stop with their bias, stop with agendas, and listen to conversations. Now, he also said something about them being in third place. Yeah, wake up, reality. That's exactly where they are. Exactly where they are. How foolish would it have been if he would have said something like, yeah, sitting in a first place position. Shut up. That would have made him look idiotic. At best, you're behind Sony, because Sony is behind Nintendo. At best. And we're not talking about financials, because if you want to talk about financials, at best, you're behind Sony and Tencent. And Sony's behind Tencent. So factually, he's looking at the numbers. He knows exactly where he is in the position. Redfall came out, didn't perform well as far as Metacritic goes. But to my surprise, I'm hearing so many people talk about, oh, I've played this game and I've finished it. It's shocking to me. It's shocking to me to hear everyone's saying that they played through it and they're playing the Play Plus game and they had a wonderful time with it, then to look at the Metacritic score, right? So again, is it public perception? Yeah, I think Microsoft needs to change public perception. But how can you change public perception if you give an interview and everybody watches the interview and you have a diverse amount of opinions about the same thing that came out of one individual's mouth?
Yeah. Well put. Well put. Deli, what do you kind of think about all of this right now Yeah. This is the subject you can talk about. Go on. I was just making sure. I was like, oh, all right. There's one subject he is like, I want to skip on. But brother, go on ahead and speak on this one.
I mean, I've had the pleasure of meeting Phil myself, and I think he's an absolutely wonderful human being. He's a stand-up guy. I think he's great for Xbox. I think he's great for the brand and the image in general. And I don't think that there would be any other leader currently or previously in the last 10 years that would come on to a podcast formally like this and say, yes, we messed up. It is what it is. But you know what? That's okay, because we're allowed to fumble, we're allowed to mess up, and it's not like we're losing, the good graces of our customers. They have Game Pass, they still have consoles. It's not like people are throwing their consoles away because Redfall didn't perform, right? An FPS looter shooter is only a small section of the wider audience. That kind of genre only speaks to, let's say, I just want to give a round number, let's say like 100 people, right? Nice, easy round number, 100 people. If there's 1,000 people playing video games, Redfall failing is not necessarily going to crash the video game market, and it's not going to interrupt people who are out playing Zelda. It's not going to interrupt the people who are playing Forza. It's not going to interrupt the people who are looking forward to Starfield, And yeah, sure, people cancel their stuff and throw away their things and sell their stuff all the time. It is what it is. We've seen it from both sides, all three sides. My Switch collected dust for almost a year after I finished Breath of the Wild. I don't have one anymore. You know what I mean? My brother and my sister have one. I'm like, yeah, here you guys go. Enjoy. Animal Crossing came out. We bought some more Switches, and I said, hey, I'm back. It's okay. That's literally okay. So yeah, I'm glad that a leader came out and said, we screwed up, we messed up. But going forward, we didn't deliver on the 12-month promise, which was at the time a very bold promise to make. But as a game developer, I'm sure that the information that Phil was given was proper at that moment. So, 6 months down the road, when Todd comes up and says, hey, that information that we gave you 6 months ago is not correct, Phil's already done his statements. He can't come out and say, hey, guys, remember that big E3 thing that we had everybody come out and say, yeah, we screwed up? They can't say that. Phil said, hey, we're going to have to do what we can. And unfortunately, they did what they can, and Redfall came out in the state that it did. Now, if you look at the numerics and the statistics of Redfall, Game Pass, and buyers or whatever, a lot of people played that game. Now, did a lot of people beat that game? If you look at the achievements, only like 1.5% beat the game. But, if I think the statistic, you guys can fact check me on this, or I can bring this statistic up later, but I think like 10 million people or 14 million people downloaded and played the game. Now, that obviously doesn't equate to buyers, but that's still people who had hands-on and time on in your game. And I know quite a lot of those people who downloaded the game to come play with me for a couple hours. For 14 million people, 1% of that's still like over what? That's still over 140,000 people. Some games don't even sell 140,000 units. So, however you want to spin it, it's impressive that a game that came out that was rushed out the door, that had to meet a deadline, that performed poorly, was able to meet metrics like that. Because a previous game that I had a conversation with another game developer recently yesterday about statistics and history in the games industry. Titanfall 2 was a game he noted that should have sold more, should have been better, should have been more supported. But if we looked at the actual data and the numbers, the original Titanfall sold 10 million copies, and Titanfall 2 sold 4 million. And that's, we're looking at 60% down, and that game performed fine on launch, had complete modes, complete online, had huge support from EA. And if a game like that couldn't even necessarily keep itself alive with that many units, it in a niche genre like that, in between two other juggernauts, it's okay. And I think that that's all right for the game. It's healthy for the game industry. You know what I mean? And not every game is going to hit. And not every game is going to fail. Maybe in a year from now, Redfall is going to come back and everybody's going to be like, hey, this is a game that was slept on. And that'll be okay too, because then people will come back and they'll publish more statistics and say, hey, like 10 million people downloaded this game this month. And I'm like, hey, look at that. The game is healthy and the games industry is alive and we're okay.
Yeah. Oh, wonderfully put. Now I want to move over to you, Matt. What's cracking with you, brother? What do you kind of think about all this? I mean, the last two, Deli and David, brought up some fantastic points. Pretty hard to argue those right there. But I want to see what you have to say about it. If you have any positive take or negative take, go on ahead, brother.
Well, what was the thing that you said? Phil said that there's no one game to rule them all, and you kind of use Tears of the Kingdom as an example.
Correct.
I don't think for Xbox or even PlayStation, for that matter, they there's a game that'll do what Tears, because of the ecosystem. Like Tears of the Kingdom, you talked about GameStop, people lining up around GameStop. Starfield can come out. I think you'll have obviously people at GameStop. There will be midnight launches for this, but it's just different on Switch because of the hardware. Because of that ecosystem. People care about physical more on the Switch than they do on Nintendo. I mean, not Nintendo, but PlayStation or Xbox. That's just the way it is. But I feel like one game to rule them all for Xbox would be Starfield this year. Eventually you'll have Elder Scrolls 6 whenever that decides to be a thing, But I feel like everybody took, not everybody, but a lot of people took that interview really out of context. Like King David said, they didn't really have much comprehension on what he was saying. Phil Spencer's not trying to get you to sell your PlayStation 5. He's trying to get you to invest in Xbox. And Xbox is multiple different things. They mentioned phones, you can play on your PC, you can play on your Xbox, you can play it many different ways. But there's many different ways to get involved in the Xbox ecosystem. And people are really hyper focused on this whole console aspect of it, when in reality, the biggest part of Xbox really, probably be PC. So it's that's something to consider, that it's not always about console versus console. They've said it multiple times, but nobody really believes them. They're not focused on PlayStation. That's not a competitor for them. They're focused on Amazon and Google and stuff like that. So it's a much bigger picture than that. And as far as Redfall, underperforming, we all kind of acknowledge that. It's I think Deli brought up a good point of, the numbers for that game. If it's closer to 15 million people have booted up that game and given it a shot. You think about arcane games, usually they don't sell well.
They're so you already know.
I love Arcane. It's my favorite studio. But historically their games don't sell well. They don't have a mass appeal. They're very niche. They don't have a mass appeal. This is their first time trying something new. So then you got Arcane fans looking at it kind of weird, okay, what am I getting from this? And so you get 15 million people playing your game on launch, when historically you don't 15 million people didn't buy Dishonored 2. That didn't happen. So it's 15 million people just trying out your game. The attach rate, might be 1.5% finishing your game, but 15 million people tried your game. And you can make your game better over time. There's patches now. And of those 15 million people who tried your game, when they hear that your game is better, a lot of those people are going to come back and finish your game. So that's what Xbox is focused on, is engagement. They're looking for that level of engagement. And if Redfall can get that with negativity surrounding its launch, you just think about what things like Starfield, what Forza, what Hellblade, what Elder Scrolls, what all that stuff is going to do in the future. It's going to be pretty insane. I think people who took that interview out of context, spun it negatively, I don't think they're seeing the bigger picture here. Or they're intentionally just being, disingenuous, which is, whatever. Get your clicks, I guess. But yeah, that's all I got to say.
Fantastic. Before we go to Cozy, I just want to shout out the chat. Got some wonderful people that I've seen before and some new faces as well, which is always good to see. Shout out to Mike Steppa. We got where was the other one I was looking at? Curie, Cosmos, welcome to the show. And then, the usual suspects. I see Silent Cypher, 108 Dragons TV, shout out to Lemon, John Wolf out here, Mr. Joanna Dark, and so forth. Quite a bit of people up in here. I'm appreciating y'all showing up and whatnot. Absolutely love it. But Cozy, I haven't heard from you in quite some time, so all of what you're about to say is going to be a fresh take, and I'm excited to hear it, and I'm excited to hear your excitement about it. Spit your bars, girl. Go on ahead. You got to unmute yourself first. There you go.
Am I muted?
No, you're not. You're
This
good. You're
mic
good.
is better.
Fine.
Everyone actually has said some really good points in regards to this. It's about engagement, and a lot of these things are touch on me because I am probably the weird gamer, the niche gamer. So a lot of the things that that when he talked about, I understood because I'm not the gamer who I don't care that much about Starfield. I'm excited and kind of interested, but it's not a game that I'd probably buy day one. It's probably a game that I'd buy after a year or two. You also know my whole thing where I don't really buy games over $30. So a lot of these things are things where I'm that weirdo niche gamer that finds random crap to play, and so a lot of the things that I was like, this resonates with me, what he's saying, because he's right. Those are kind of people that are out there and available as an audience, and they're not necessarily going to be playing the same thing as other people, and if you make an ecosystem that's easy for someone to get into, then they are more likely to spend time there. I'm also cloud too.
Gotcha. I mean, here's my take real quick. I'm gonna quickly go over this. When I think of Xbox now compared to, people like to bring up the 360 days, 360 all the time. And to me, it's just when are you guys going to realize they are no longer running that type of business anymore? I don't understand why people think that, oh man, they have to do it the old way or they're going to fail. When Phil is literally telling you each time that he gets on, we're doing something totally different. We're going down a whole different path and we're looking for engagement, not selling consoles. Not even, to be honest, they just want people to get into Game Pass. They want people to get into Game Pass and take advantage of all the things that you can do in there because the ecosystem, if you play it, if you take advantage of it, it's a dope.
It's those individuals that cry for the 360 days. They cry for Xbox winning at that point in time. That's about it, because at that point in time you had Halo, Gears, and Forza, you had Call of Duty. You had a couple of good games sprinkled in between, but at that point, Microsoft was trying to build a base, right? To try to get inroads in on PlayStation. Though it was successful in the mind share of individuals, it wasn't successful in the overall picture because the PlayStation came out at a high price. It stumbled out of the gate. It was hard to program for. And at the end of the day, it still caught up and surpassed the 360 numbers at the end of the day. If you go back and look at those numbers reflect that even stumbling out of the gate, they still surpassed their numbers. And I know you're going to say the Red Ring of Death, and the Red Ring of Death had impact on it. Think about this. The 360 was so damn good that with the Red Ring of Death, you caught it. If you couldn't sell it or whatever, you ran out and got a new one. So a lot of those consoles was inflated in let's say they sold 50 million. Let's say 15 of those 50 million is repurchasing because you had the Red Ring of Death, right? But the PlayStation, did they suffer Red Ring of Death? No. So those numbers is pretty much kind of accurate. They still surpassed them at the end of the day. Looking at those metrics, you're going to say we have to do something completely different in order to beat them. We can't beat them at their same game. They're in different regions. The PlayStation 4 launched in more regions than the Xbox One. The PlayStation 4 was catering to indies in the beginning. The Xbox One had a superior lineup in the beginning. Still could not crack the PlayStation code. You cannot beat the champ doing what the champ does. The champ is the champ for a reason. So what you have to do is find different ways to beat him. And I appreciate the fact that you understand engagement is the new metrics for Microsoft opposed to units sold. Units sold is not going to get them anywhere because usually you're singing to the choir.
And of course, you can't omit games history by saying Sony has over a decade's worth of experience in the console manufacturing space ahead of Microsoft. And that's just how it is, you know. The collab with the PlayStation 1. I mean, they were talking to Nintendo all the way back to the NES in '85.
Yep.
That's what 40 years almost of game development in console space in home entertainment, whereas the Xbox has only existed since what 2000, 99, something like that. That's only 20 years. That's half the lifespan of a company, and the majority of Sony's sale, or a lot of Sony's money, comes from the console space, whereas the tiniest fraction comes from Xbox for Microsoft. And Microsoft is not a home entertainment company; it is a tech company, and they operate exactly like a tech company. When Microsoft moved to subscription bases, cloud, and everything else to support their billion-dollar business, trillion-dollar business, Xbox followed suit. They said it's no longer, again, it's about the engagement. It's no longer about, you know, physical media and things like that. It's about the digital library. It's about people who want to be here for a while. It's about game preservation. It's about backwards compatibility. It's about being able to support people who are going to be here for the long run, not necessarily here for 5 hours or here for 5 years and gone into the next one. That's why they believe in generations. That's why they said, hey, we're going to have our Xbox Series S and X compatible with, you know, the Xbox One. That is why they said you don't have to buy a new controller. Yep. I had to buy new controllers for my PlayStation 5. It is what it is, you know? And that kind of business mentality, they've been telling you guys exactly how they're going to operate their business for almost a decade now. Since what, Game Pass inception 6 years ago?
Yes.
Before that?
Yet everybody's still surprised, right?
Yeah, so it's a different ballpark.
Yeah, they want them to change their model to fit their program, and that's not it. You know, Denny is completely 100% right on everything he's saying.
Fantastic. All right, well, let's go on ahead and move to the next subject. This is one that Matt loves talking about. Deli, you're probably going to want to take a break on this one, brother, right here.
I don't blame you.
If I hear a knock at my door and I leave, you know, you guys just know Phil Spencer sent his people.
So with all that being said, we've been hearing the same thing that we heard last month, and I want to know what's different compared to last month to this month, because people have been saying the EU's decision clearing the $69 billion Microsoft Activision deal, pretty much they're saying they're expecting it to go through. Let me go on ahead and throw this up there so you guys can see. So by May 15th, so that's supposed to be this Monday. What are you looking forward to? Do you think this is actually going to actually pass this time? And I'm pointing at you this time, King, first.
Yeah.
On this subject. Because we all were kind of blindsided. Let's be real. We were blindsided when we seen that the CMA said no, when we heard from so many what we thought were reliable sources that this was going to pass.
Well, the Post is not a reliable source. It was speculative, to be honest with you. Everybody had their hopes. You know, all the Microsoft dudes was like, oh, please, the Xbox guys, the Xbots or whatever you want to call them, was like, yeah, man, this is it. You're going down, baby. Like, and, you know, they was passing around the same DMs, my source. Everybody has a source until a source isn't real, right? Until it doesn't happen. And I heard it was supposed to pass as well, but it didn't. And we can play spy games all we want. We could talk about collusion. We could talk about all types of things. now we're at a different precipice. We're at the precipice with the EU. The different thing here is the Prime Minister is really pissed off with the CMA. He said it's going to be sweeping changes with the CMA. It's going to be a lot of regulations, what they're going to do, and they're going to be depowering them, because not only does this deal hurt big tech in the UK, because big tech is watching what's going on with Microsoft, and if Microsoft gets shut down in this area over overzealous, uninformed CMA, big tech is not going to invest in your ecosystem, in your area. Microsoft has done a lot of things to invest in that ecosystem to appease the UK constituents. Now, the EU, I expect the EU to pass on Monday. If they don't pass on Monday, then the deal is absolutely dead in the water. And then you will have to see Microsoft and ABK go back and renegotiate another deal that will probably exclude cloud from the deal, or a divestiture of assets. It's a whole bunch of things that they could do, right? It's $70 billion. $70 billion. You have shareholders, you have people that are as soon as this deal happens, they are literally retiring, getting the hell out of the door. Bobby Kotick is like, come on, man, you're messing up my money, Sony. He was calling Sony on the phone. They was not picking up his phone call. Like, they ghosted him. And they make probably the biggest amount of money from Call of Duty for, the PlayStation ecosystem. So for them not to be returning phone calls, you have to understand this is high stakes chess. And one deal can change the perception of everything. What you talked about and what we've talked about is engagement. If Game Pass is compelling enough to pull in the casual on your phone on a cloud-based system, because this is really the conduit in which that they are looking at. You have this thing here is probably 10 times more powerful than my first Hewlett Packard, right? And I was sitting there with my MS-DOS and thinking I was it. And this thing blows that thing away. They know that this is on your hip. If they can get you to engage from here, this is what they want to do. So the EU understands this. The EU can be the savior in this. They can be the saving grace in this as far as big tech in their region goes. And then, you have the appeals court with the CMA, and we're going to find out exactly where that thing goes. I think it's 33% appeal overture, which will they will overturn it in favor of the appealer. That's really not a high percentage, but it's not a below 10% percentage. So you have a fighting chance. And at some point in time, it's going to be, is it worthwhile to just go with the deal? They can push the deal through. And instead of giving them cloud, because cloud is the contentious part, you can omit the cloud from that region and it'd be grayed out. So you can try to go to xCloud and it just be grayed out, or you can charge xCloud at like a $2 charge or whatever. It was other things that these guys was talking about that I understood. So again, I expected to pass on Monday, overwhelmingly positive, and then it's just on to what's going to happen with the CMA appeals. Now, the bigger question is, if it passes, to save the $3 billion, do you just go on with the deal? Because I think Phil said that there was 9 countries that were in. They needed, it's 15 countries in total. The CMA represents one aspect that denied. So that means you're looking at 4 to 5 more that need to pass. And those 4 to 5 more, if they're in line, I think they're just going to go on with the deal. So that's what you're looking for next. Those remaining countries to approve or deny, and if Microsoft and ABK is going to just go forth with the deal and worry about the FTC and the CMA later.
Okay. compelling enough to move on to Cozy now and see what she has to say about this whole topic and whatnot. Like I said, it's been a hot minute, Cozy, since we had you on the show. So,
but I always feel, how I feel about this entire conflict. I'm like, let it.
I don't know how you feel.
You know what? Now you're just trolling me. But I feel like basically just I am tired of the subject. But the interesting thing is the cloud part is the only part I'm interested in because I mostly game in the cloud. So that's the only part of it that I'm kind of like a little more interested in actually to see what's going to happen as far as the approval or not with the concessions, especially as it pertains to the cloud issue, because that's the part, because I'm all about the push for getting better cloud gaming wherever.
Can I ask, are you in the UK?
Me? No.
That would never affect you.
No, I know, but it does make me interested. I'm just interested in the development of the cloud. It doesn't matter where. Just like the whole, cloud gaming as a whole is very much something that I'm interested in.
I can't wait till everything is 5G. Real 5G, not this fake 5G that they're shoving. Yeah, right, Denny?
So
Yeah,
you know what's interesting? I was playing just on 4G on the bus once in Streets of Rage, and it is absolutely fine.
I could give you a little tidbit. Shout out to my boy Tim Dog. Yo, if you play on 5G, it's like it's local. Like it's that fast and that worth it. It's literally what you're looking for. And I'm so happy that the PlayStation 6 has Wi-Fi 6 in the box, because the perceived lag is just really not there. So yeah, just like tech talk, but yeah. 5G, yes, I'm for that.
Yeah, real 5G is going to be a game changer. This is going to turn into your Xbox console, and let me tell you, that is going to be a huge problem for a lot of people, because those mobile markets that King has is not a joke. That that's the only thing I will say.
Yeah,
fair enough. Now I'm going to move on to the most excited person to talk about this topic on this panel today, Mr. Matt Likes Games. Mr. Matt Likes Games, please go on ahead and talk about this Activision Blizzard deal. Don't take too long on it, because I know you like to over elaborate and everything.
Oh, I can go for an hour on this, buddy. I mean, let me tell you. But I mean, I was in a party with you last month, and we got excited when we heard that they were going to be pushing through the deal. CMA was going to be approving the deal, and we were super excited. Dude, we stayed up like really late that night. We were in the party till like 4 a.m. I was like, you know what? I'll probably stay up for like another hour, and it'll probably be approved before I go to bed. It didn't happen. I woke up, I checked the phone, it was denied. I'm like, okay, all right. So this month I hear this, I'm like I expect it to be approved, but at the same time, I expected it to be approved by the CMA. So I don't know anything, and if those guys didn't know anything when they said it was approved by the CMA. So I don't know what's going to happen. All I know is I hope it gets approved. And honestly, if I don't know, I hope it gets approved. I just hope it gets approved so we can keep this thing moving, get it done faster, get this whole process over with, because they're talking about, this won't be done till 2024. Then you got people saying it could be a few years, and I'm just like, please no, anything but that. But that's all I got to say on that. I don't got much to say.
Fair enough. Yeah, there isn't a whole lot to say. Whether you wanted to go through or not. I mean, it's really not it's not our decision at all. We just have to wait and see. It is what it is. I hope to see some good news. I mean, goodness, that this would be some fantastic news right before the showcase happened and whatnot. Just a little bit of positivity, a little bit of confidence within the community right before we roll into the showcase, which is actually the next topic that we're going to be talking about right now. So the showcase is going to be coming, I believe it is June 11th, which is on a Sunday. We here on the TSWS Gaming channel are going to be streaming that for sure. Might even do a double stream and have the game drink going on at the same time with it too.
I'll do it. I'll do it.
Hey, I think that might be fun. But what are some of the expectations that some of you have? I'm going to go over the deli first because you've been a little quiet because of the last topic and whatnot. So I want to give you your chance to go on ahead and spit your bars and say what you think would be there, and then also what you would be excited to see at something like this.
The showcase for, you said for Xbox?
Yeah, Xbox and the Starfield Direct and stuff like that, yeah.
I just want to see games. I'm going to be honest with you. I don't put too much stock into rumors. I just want games. And I'm not talking about games like, oh, this is a teaser trailer. I'm talking about gameplay. I want 5 minutes uninterrupted. I want to see somebody holding a controller and playing it. I don't care about anything else. I just want to see what is actually able to be delivered, what's being able to be worked on. Because if you look at the competitors over at PlayStation, they don't talk about anything until it's ready. And that gives developers lots of leeway to be able to say, hey, this internal deadline we missed. And it's okay to miss internal deadlines because there's a lot of things going on, right? So yeah, I want deliverables. I want to be able to be, I mean, I don't really necessarily care if Phil comes out and says, hey, we got another 12 months going. That doesn't bother me none. I just need something to look forward to. I just want to play some games. And I know a lot of people say, oh, there's a lot of pressure on Starfield. Well, I think there's just been a lot of pressure on Starfield since Starfield got announced. So I think that they're holding it well, and I think that they're assumingly doing well. So yeah, I don't think that there's going to be anything high on my plate at the moment right now. Like I said, I just want games. Actually, let me amend that. I want to see Perfect Dark. That's the only thing I care about. I want to see Perfect Dark. I think that was a franchise that I've been, championing Microsoft to push. Even with my days in the office, I keep telling everybody, I was like, look, guys, there is not a stealth action franchise that's currently alive. Something needs to happen. Metal Gear is no longer being made. Splinter Cell at the time wasn't being made. It's currently there's a remake going on. What else? Siphon Filter not being made, no sequels. Assassin's Creed is kind of outside of the realm of a stealth game nowadays. Ghost Recon not really a thing anymore. Like, the big franchises are kind of extinct, and so Perfect Dark it's literally the best time to make a revival. And I really, really hope that we see that soon. And so that's currently my number one on my bingo board. And anything after that is like, I'm whatever. I'm happy to see. I'm happy to hear.
Fantastic. King David, I know you got to leave soon, brother. Go on ahead and let me know what you're looking forward to with this whole showcase going on. Obviously, Starfield is a big deal. But what other things are kind of going on in your head right now with this showcase coming up?
I better not see Starfield there. Yeah, I better not. They have their own showcase, and I don't care to see it there. We already know it's coming in September, so let it do what it's gonna do. I need to see Fable. I need to see Avowed. I need to see Hellblade 2. I damn sure need to see at least 6 or 7 minutes of Forza. I think Forza is going to do what everyone wants every other game to do, because the Forza team is the only team that has not missed their shot. Like, you can say Gears. A lot of people say Gears is probably the top franchise. I'm going to have to say Turn 10 with the Forza team has delivered consistently with that title. And either, I don't know, perception-wise as a racer, you can say it's either head and shoulders above Gran Turismo or neck and neck with Gran Turismo. But you can't say at this point in time Gran Turismo is a better racing game compared to Forza. And that's through hard work and complete dedication through Turn 10. So I think they utilize the hardware the best out of all the developers that they do have, and that's no knock on anyone else. It's just for some reason they understand that tech from the ground up. I mean, you had 4K 60 on Xbox One, and they were not playing at all. Xbox One X. They were not playing at all. They gave it full tilt. So definitely see Fable. Definitely need to see Avowed. Hellblade 2. And I want to see gameplay for these games. And then I want to see your little knick-knack games that you have that you've been working on the side. Like Hi-Fi Rush was a wonderful game that they stealth dropped and they gave us, and it was a complete package, and that's a good game. I want to see more games along the lines of that, surprise games that can drop in at that point in time, or it's that we're working on down the road. Give me something, since if you're going to ditch the 12-month format, give me a glimpse into the future. Give me a glimpse into what Ninja Theory is working on. Give me a glimpse of what the Coalition has got going on over there. Give me a glimpse of what the Doom team has been working on. Give me a glimpse of what the future holds. What's the next Wolfenstein? What's happening? What's going on here? I heard that Arcane was working on another title right after the Redfall. Show me concept art of where they're going next. Are they going back to the Prey universe? Show me something to give me hope that the future is leading this way, because that 12-month format locked me in for the 12 months, and you did not deliver on that promise, right? You missed that promise, and he acknowledged that promise was missed. But now, show future now, and don't lock yourself and don't do those dates. Don't do that. Just these are the games. These are the games that's coming out soon. These are the games that we're working on. We have dates at a later time, but show gameplay, and just run a good tight ship. Don't have too many lulls in between with kitty cat stuff, playing with puzzles. Don't do that, please. Because they do that a lot. They start off strong and then have a lull period, go back to another strong title, and go to a lull period. So I just want a strong show that they're focused, because I know that PlayStation show, it's going to be bonkers, and it's going to be very, very focused with little talking, because they go from gameplay to gameplay with little talking. Please don't bring out no personalities. I don't care about Josh. I don't care about his cat that loves Gears. I don't care about any of that stuff. Just get the games. That's all.
I ain't mad to hear that at all. Sister Cozy, what's cracking? Are you excited about anything when it comes to this showcase? Because we already know what kind of gamer you are. You already laid that on thick.
Yeah, so. But number one, the one thing that they could do for me is I would love to see State of Decay 3 gameplay. I love State of Decay. Absolutely. I think, especially because if you've seen what Undead Labs has done, as far as State of Decay 2 from launch until now, they've been consistently updating it, consistently improving it, consistently making it a great game. So I kind of have high hopes for State of Decay 3 based on everything that they delivered with 2. The other thing that they could do for me, and I know this is like my dream, Viva Pinata.
Oh my God, stop it.
I'm never going to let it go because it was so beautiful. We had this thing and we do not anymore, and I will forever live in that moment.
Maybe they should bring back 1 versus 100.
Yes. Yeah. See, you understand.
Who knows? Bring it back. Bring back something. Bring back something that people cared about back in the day. Why not?
Hey, nothing wrong with that. I tell you myself, I'm really looking forward to this. And one thing, I'm gonna go back to the Phil Spencer interview real quick, just to talk about, just to kind of bring up a little bit of this showcase, kind of smush it together a little bit, but. Phil said that in the interview, everyone was looking at the negatives in the interview, but I was fishing for positive information. What can I hear through this that he's actually saying that's something to actually look forward to? And one of the things that he said that I found really interesting is that he cannot wait for, or he can actually kind of see the light on this quarterly game drops that are coming out. We have a crazy amount of games that we know that haven't came out yet. He said in the interview that they're going to be showing things that they haven't talked about yet either. Yep. So I'm just thinking to myself, like, wow, like, we already know about State of Decay. We already know about Contraband. We already know about About. We already know about all these other games. And then that has nothing to do with even the third-party things that are going to be coming into Game Pass as well. That has nothing to do with that. That has nothing to do with Liza P or Stalker 2 and stuff like that. So I kind of thought it was smart of him to undersell it, this whole showcase or whatnot, because I think it's going to slap personally. I personally think it's going to be better than any Xbox showcase that I've probably ever seen. I'm putting that much thought into it, or that much I don't know, whatever. I'm putting a lot of eggs in that basket for that for this specific showcase. I think they definitely learned from the whole year. He mentioned that within the interview as well. So I mean, I'm super duper excited for this whole thing. Matt.
Yep.
I don't think I got to you yet.
No.
What are you looking forward to in this? And oh yeah, before I even go to Matt, Compulsion.
Yeah. 100%.
That's all I gotta say. Continue, brother.
I think Compulsion's the most. Compulsion's weird because I feel like they're probably the most creative, or one of the most creative studios that Xbox has, but none of their games have achieved, or like I would assume none of their games have achieved what they set out to achieve, success-wise. But you know, their first big game, or their first game under Microsoft, I'm really excited to see what that is. Especially since we heard like forget when that was, probably about close to 2 years at this point. We were hearing like it's like some fantasy, like deep south with a fantasy setting, which just sounds crazy. I don't know how true that is, but that was the rumor of about 2 years ago at this point. But the thing I really want to see from the showcase, honestly, and we're going to see it, is Starfield. Starfield, as until Elder Scrolls 6, Starfield is my most anticipated game this generation. So the thing I most want to see, we are guaranteed to see. So I'm in a pretty great spot when it comes to that.
And just to go on top of that, I'm so happy that they made sure to say, yo, this is a totally different part of the showcase right here. Starfield's going to be its own thing. Yes. And like King David said, now we don't have to hear about it during the meat and potatoes of the stuff that we may not know about and stuff like that. They can hush up about that and just let Todd Howard drive that part of the show.
Exactly. And that's why I was excited, because I forget how long the show was last year. It was about 90 minutes, something like that. And that was with, 10 or so minutes of Starfield. Probably more than that, actually, because the gameplay was like 17 minutes. So there's a big chunk for Starfield in there. Well, now you have that huge chunk can be dedicated to anything else. And I'm interested to see what it's going to be. I know Phil mentioned Hellblade by name when he was doing the interview. I thought that was interesting. Maybe we'll see like a release date, maybe a window for Hellblade, and maybe it's this year. Who knows? That would be really exciting. But the thing I really want to see, like I said, man, it's just Starfield. It's just Starfield. Give me Starfield and give me something on Avowed, and I'll be incredibly happy.
Well, speaking on Starfield real quick, let's go on to the next topic, which is the ESRB reveal Starfield has, the sex with jetpacks.
Sex confirmed.
Sex confirmed and drugs confirmed. And yeah, I mean, it sounds like it's going to be a pretty advantageous game for sure. King, what did you think when you seen this whole thing drop? I have the article that Paul Tassi put up, but what did you think when you seen the whole ESRB for this game with the whole drugs and sex and awkward lingo after sex and stuff like that?
I just thought of Cyberpunk and all the other games that we do like. Nothing out of the ordinary for one of these Howard bangers. Um, Fallout had all that wonderful stuff. This is part of the powerful course for him. This is nothing out of the ordinary. I think if it wasn't there, people will be upset. Talk about the robots and what they were doing, and it's just little conversations. This is what we want from our RPGs, right? I mean, this is exactly what we look for. I know the biggest aspect of what was that RPG, the trilogy that these guys was always fighting.
Oh, Mass Effect.
Mass
Yeah,
Effect.
Mass Effect. It was to see if you can get certain characters in the hay, right? It was like, did you sleep with this character? No, I didn't. Well, I'm gonna go back and play it again from this angle and try to have a different conversation with it. It's just weirdo stuff that we do in our leisure, and good. He put it in there, fantastic. It's gonna sell a little bit more for us creepy folk. But other than that, there's other people that won't ever get a chance to see that aspect of the game because they probably won't try to do that stuff. But for us, a little dirty-minded individuals, find the jokes, and we will see exactly the stuff that we can do. So yeah, good. It's one of the reasons why I got Cyberpunk. So I expected it there, and I expected here. So nothing.
King, you saying you nasty? King, you saying
yes,
you nasty?
Anybody sitting here saying that they're not, they're full of it. We play games to immerse ourselves in different sides of ourselves, right? You will never slaughter a whole town, but in your video games, you're like, it was the side.
How do you know? He's never been presented with that choice.
Because
man, Cozy, you're something.
For legal reasons, that was a joke.
Thank you.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh.
Rosie's joking. Don't listen to anything she says.
Definitely. I hope not. There's moral reasons, but in video games, we're able to live out whatever fantasies that we think that we should, or have good fun with. Like, other than that, she has a real parrot on her shoulder. So, in the game, you can get a parrot, right? So, but I'm just saying, like, we're able to live our fantasies in the games. So why not have a broad spectrum of those said fantasies, right? Why limit us in any aspect? And I don't think Todd does limit anyone, because he tells you he wants you to be able to pick up every little thing and open every little door and go to every little galaxy. He said you can go to a planet and sit there and drink whatever you're going to do in a beach chair and just look at the stars. Don't do anything else. So if you have that level of freedom, why would anything like that come to a shock to anybody? You should be able to do that if you have that level of freedom.
It's an M-rated game. I mean, people act like every game on the world has to be E for everyone. No. Movies, music, books, it's a wide range of stuff, And why would it be any different from our favorite medium, which is a marriage of all of those: music, art, literature, the whole 9 yards. Why wouldn't we have something that caters to everyone and anyone, right? Like, I get it that 12-year-olds are playing GTA. I mean, they really shouldn't be, or whatever it may be. But I'm just saying that, like, we should have the ability to do that. And when Mass Effect came to the forefront to be able to push that kind of adult themes and mature audiences, it resonated with everyone and was like, wow, this is video gaming at its finest. Yes. And then when Fallout pushed the ability to be able to do whatever you want to do, be another morality based game. Same thing with the Elder Scrolls. Everybody was like, wow, this is actually mature. Like, these themes are very intricate and mature. It's not just, I'm not just a scumbag because I like slaughtering a village of people, whatever. I can be who I want to be. I can tailor this person, because at the end of the day, it's a role-playing game. And you should be able to role-play whatever you want to play as, right? And if you don't like the fact that there's jetpack, sex, and drugs in the game, you don't have to play it, because it may not be tailored to you. And just like movies, music, games, and everything else in the world, not everything is made for everybody. So, and that's going to be fine. And I don't want Todd to compromise his vision his dreams and his artistic ability and his team's talents because some 14-year-old on the internet got it for Christmas and got upset, you know? So
hey, Deli and King and the rest of the panel, I'm telling you guys, everyone's been talking about how Tears of the Kingdom is a console seller, how Spider-Man's a console seller. This game, Starfield, is doing exactly what Microsoft wants it to do. It's an ecosystem seller. It's going to grab a ton of people. There's several people that I've talked to from my hometown, that I've talked to, previously at work and stuff like that, that said, yo, I don't really think that Game Pass has what I want, but when Starfield comes out, I'm going to hop into that and just try it out and see what it's all about. I'm telling you, Starfield is going to be that game that people just have to get Game Pass to play, because a lot of people are, let's be honest, people don't want to spend $70. People don't.
Thank you.
Your average person doesn't want to spend $70. They just want to play a game and have access to it. That's fine with them.
At what point in time did we become the people that wanted to spend more? We were always cheap. Like if we gave you $30, we wanted 30 games. Like I've never understood this whole thing. Yeah, man, I buy my game $70. I was a child. If you was gonna give me 30 games for $30, I'm gonna kick that door down. I'm in.
That's Christmas this year, next year, and the year after that.
But these guys, this is weirdo talk. Is absolutely weirdo talk. I need to support the developer. He didn't get paid. Like, is it my job?
I was on salary. I got paid already.
That's the part I'm talking about. People have it backwards. It's not a status symbol to anymore. That's done. There wouldn't be any game emulation. That stuff wouldn't be there. Used to do a lot of nefarious things back in the days, but I purchased my games first, and then I did my emulation later. But that's besides the point. Don't judge me, people. I'm just saying, Game Pass and every service like it. I like the Nintendo Online service. I like the PlayStation Plus service. I like the Xbox, or any service online that you can get multiple amounts of games. Allows you to have the leisure of jumping in and jumping out at any time with minimum to low cost of entry. And if someone tells you that it makes more valuable sense to take $70 and buy one game than to take that same $70 and go get pizza and for your friends, get some gas, and take $15 out of that $70 and play 300 games, those people should not manage your money, their money, or anybody else.
And I've said this a million times before. I came from a low-income household when we immigrated to America, and my father went to the flea market and bought me a box of video games, NES games. That's what I originally started on, right? Then we moved up to PlayStation 1 and the PlayStation 2, and it didn't matter what games I had because I just had a box of them, right? And if I came into the 360 era with Game Pass, I promise you that I would be thrilled instead of having one AAA video game per year.
Yep.
And thankful it was like the golden age of video. Well, I feel like the golden age of video games back then, because we were getting games every 6 months. It feels like we were getting 20 games a year, and it was very, very hard to pick just one. And God forbid you pick Crackdown 3 or something. You know what I mean? And you were done. You were done for the year. So yes, I'm a huge fan of being able to, give consumers as much variety as humanly possible. And I think that I think that as gaming got more mainstream, I think gamers, or at least the more mainstream ones, I know that everybody here has been playing games for quite some time. Yeah. They forget that we used to be bullied in school for this stuff. Yes. And even though we were bullied in school, we wanted people to play games with us. We were the most inviting industry. We were the most inviting crowd ever. We said, yeah, come play video games. This is the greatest hobby on planet Earth. And then it got mainstream and everybody was like, it's only cool to play this game. I'm like, no, I promise you, when I was like 10 years old, I was playing Midnight Club. I was playing Madden 07. I was playing every game humanly possible. I was checking them out. I have like 90 some games for the 360 here on my shelf. I have like 90 some games for the PlayStation 3. I have like a tub full of PlayStation 1 NES games, and I can promise you there was not a single genre that I sat and played in my childhood or in my teenage years. It was every genre humanly possible, and it was great. It was a great hobby, and it was in a fantastic way. Then it got mainstream, and everybody's like, I want to buy $100 video games. I'm like, you know what? Enjoy doing that. Please enjoy doing that. But I promise you, I want a giant library of games. Hi-Fi Rush, an absolute knockout hit. What? Yep. A lot of people are like, well, it looks like this, and it's kind of cringy, and it's like that. We need games like that because we had games like that in the 360 when game development production pipelines were 12 to 18 months.
Marlo Briggs.
We got tons of games. We got tons of games every year, and now if you look at the list of games that we get per year, we get like maybe six large releases per year. A decade ago or 15 years ago in the 360 era, we were getting 20 games per year. So yeah, we need games like Hi-Fi Rush. We need games, just in general. We just need games, and Game Pass is able to give games to people as much as possible.
Let me tell you something. If it wasn't for Game Pass, I wouldn't have found a couple of my new addictions, which is Loop Hero. It may look ugly. It may remind you of a Amiga game. It may do that to you. But this game is so thoroughly addicting. It makes no sense. Vampire Survivor. Ugly as
Vampire Survivors. Let me tell you.
That game was crack. I was literally, when I was like, let me just try this game. And like, I was like, my wrists hurt so much because I started on the PC and I was just like, And I wasn't playing correctly because I was playing on my bad keyboard. But I did it for like 4 hours. And I was like, okay, I gotta stop now. But you guys know how I play that game. You guys know how. I won't touch it now because if I go back, it's not.
I just downloaded the new DLC. Addiction started. Addiction reignited.
You put the needle back in.
I'm going back in, coach. If it's not for these services, and you have to be discerning with your dollar. And I mean, Denny knows we used to go by back cover art on the games. Is this a game? And of course, the EGMs and the game pros, they would be shilling for a game, and we didn't know that they were getting paid. So we went with the tried and trues. I have this $60. I'm gonna have to go with Ghouls and Ghosts. And you overlook probably one of the biggest gems there, like Dynamite Heady. And you didn't get Dynamite Heady because Ghouls and Ghosts came out at the same time, and that was a surefire hit. But then when you got a chance to play Dynamite Heady from the $5 bargain bin, you was like, I passed on this. This is crazy. Thank God for Game Pass and games or services that are on the PlayStation and on Nintendo, because without that, I don't think we'll be opened up to different tastes in games, because you get bored. Just like Netflix, you get bored. Let me click on this movie, and you're telling your friend about this movie. Yo, check out Beef. It's crazy. So it's like that. But guys, I gotta go. I can't wait to chop it up with you guys after the shows.
Later, Tater.
Yeah, it was a pleasure having you, King. Thank you for coming out and whatnot. Yeah. And we will be in touch sometime soon, brother. Thank you so much.
Right. Take care, guys.
Definitely, man.
Woo-hoo.
All right. So continuing on, and what I just wanted to say before King had left and whatnot was that, like, we've been doing rental and subscription services for a long time. This whole idea of oh man, you need to buy the game, you need to support. I mean, what was Blockbuster doing? What was Hollywood Video doing? Were we not supporting the devs then? Yeah, what was Game Man? And shout out to what Deli just said just a little bit ago. Like, when we were kids, we didn't have that crazy money. Hell, we're adults and some of us ain't even got that crazy money.
Kid Me could never. Kid Me was going and spending like $2 at people's yard sale buying those Tiger Electronics.
From Tiger
That I had
Electronics. Never forget.
and they shared the same batteries with my Game Boy, so I had to decide what I wanted to play because I had just those batteries. I was fiending.
Absolutely. I mean, that's just the point to me. Is just like people acting like you need to be like the number one Twitter breadwinner or something like that, and show off your collection of everything that you decided to spend every bottom dollar that you got on just to try to stun on a few people is just ridiculous. It's just not something that I can co-sign at all. But moving on to the next topic that we got, the PlayStation Nation has a showcase that's going to be coming, but we've yet to get a release date on it. Do you, Matt, I'm going to go to you first. Do you think that this is going to happen before or after Xbox's showcase? Because there's some people out here saying, oh, late May, we're going to hear about it, right? Here it is almost, halfway through May, and we still haven't heard anything.
You think we're going to hear about it, or do you think we're going to see it?
Some people are talking about seeing it at the end of May.
I don't think you're seeing it at the end of May. I think PlayStation, they do this historically, where they'll wait for Xbox. Xbox will get the positivity, and then after that, they'll come out. They'll have their insane games that everybody's excited for, and then that just shifts all the focus to PlayStation. And that's kind of like what they like to do historically. I mean, maybe they come out before Xbox, but I would imagine. I'm expecting that show after Xbox's showcase, like mid-June or something like that.
Okay. Do you have any ideas on what you'd expect to see, or is it just really up in the air for you?
I mean, everybody's talking about Metal Gear being remade, Metal Gear Solid 3 being remade. I wouldn't mind that. I'm historically not really into Metal Gear Solid, but I mean, making it more modern take on it would definitely get me interested. Obviously, Spider-Man probably be there in some way, shape, or form. I would like to see an FPS game from Sony. I know they're working on a few from all the rumors you hear, but I'd like to see one of those at the showcase. It'd be really awesome.
All right, Deli, what do you think?
Again, I don't put too much stock into rumors, so I just hope that I see games. I mean,
games.
If I were to make an educated guess, I would say that historically the Call of Duty reveal is at the end of May, and since they have a big marketing partnership, I mean, what a better time than to showcase not only the next level of Call of Duty or the next iteration of Call of Duty, but be able to wrap that in and say, hey, look, this is our big gaming partnership, and look what else is coming. I mean, it could work, Like I said, historically, Call of Duty has always been shown off around May, June time, so, maybe who knows? Of course, all the indie games like Pragmata and stuff like that, and Stellar Blade are still, rapidly in development, so maybe we'll see some more stuff of that soon. Who knows? Who knows?
Yeah, I'm definitely expecting. Like if they're talking about having as big of a showcase that all these people are expecting them to have, which I'm not saying that they're wrong at all. I think Sony's going to come out and kill it, because they haven't had a showcase in some time now, like an actual showcase, not a state of play, an actual showcase. They haven't had one of those in I think a few years, right? Am I right or wrong about that?
It's been a while.
So with that being said, I think they're looking to show off something like what Bloober Team was working on with Silent Hill, and also Konami and Metal Gear Solid and Spider-Man, obviously, Stellar Blade, obviously, but I'd really like to see some of these live service games, these gas games that they've been talking about building for so long. Man, like they'd knock my socks off if they talked about Twisted Metal. Twisted Metal would be phenomenal to see there. I'd love to see Sweet Tooth make a comeback, right? But let me pass it over to you, Cozy. Is there anything that you would like to see? Because I know that you're the type of person that you want to see games that you want, that you really got to have before you, because you currently don't have a PS5 right now. So
5 game rule, you know it.
Yep, exactly. And that's what I was getting at is the whole game rule that you have. You need to see like 5 games or something like that interest you before you even dive into the service. So what would be some things that you would like to see from there? Just shooting off the hip.
The biggest one would be Helldivers 2. I really love Helldivers. I think that's the biggest one. A lot of the stuff I like is just gone and probably not coming back, like Sly Cooper and stuff. So I think for me, the great age of PlayStation was really PS3. A lot of stuff I don't feel like is coming back, but
PS3 was great.
because I don't really like cutscenes and stuff like that. So
fair enough. What happened if they announced PlayStation Home's coming?
Shut up and take my money. You know it. Shut up. Take my money. They could, I spent way too much money on PlayStation Home. I would dive back in immediately. Yes.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. Loke just said in the chat, just finished the 6th possible ending for Cyberpunk 2077.
There we go.
Masterpiece.
There we go, Loke.
Jeez,
you're damn right it is.
Wow.
In.
I almost
You weren't kidding, Loke.
Now off to Midfall, right? I don't know.
Right, yeah, now you gotta play Redfall, Loke. 50 hours minimum on Redfall, Loke.
I actually was disappointed by Redfall.
Yeah, did you actually have a time to play it?
For a second, and guess what? I didn't think it would be an actual horror game. It was scary. I was like, because I was looking for people to play with, and I was like, well, I'll just start it by myself, and then it was kind of scary, and I didn't like that.
Scary, huh? That's interesting.
Interesting.
You're the first person to tell me it was scary. All right. Well, going a little bit further. So, as of recently, we've heard that there was a shutdown of a PlayStation studio. So I just figured we'd talk about it real quick. We don't need to dive too deep into it, but Pixel Opus shut down under Sony. They're the ones behind Concrete Genie, and there's another. Oh yeah, and Entwined as well. Were these games, or did this, or was this studio something that you actually think you're gonna miss? And I'm gonna go to you first, Cozy, because you're more into the smaller games.
Actually, yes. I was very disappointed. I was very, very disappointed. I thought those Concrete Genie especially was really fantastic, and I would have looked forward to seeing more from them.
Okay, how about you, Deli?
I don't really have much to say. Hearts out to my fellow developers, and maybe, I wanted to see more. But Concrete Genie was fun for the time that I played it, and it definitely was a place that thrived on creativity and stuff. And historically, creativity doesn't always make the most money. So, best of luck to them wherever they are and whatever they end up doing, or if they ended up getting like rehomed inside the the umbrella. So yeah.
All right. Well, with that being said, Deli, I'm kind of curious. Like, do you think, like, and I'm talking direction of Sony, do you think that they're kind of giving in a little bit on the on the smaller games and just aiming strictly just for big titles at this time, or and just like more or less relying on like maybe indie developers and stuff to come out with the small games instead of them? Or do you think that this specific studio just didn't work out?
I'm not entirely sure. I'm not going to speak for them. I don't know. I wasn't inside on the business. So I will say that, studios get shut down for a couple of reasons, or people get laid off for a couple of reasons. And one of those reasons listed is the fact that they're not producing content that makes money, or they're not really producing content that is fruitful for the brand. So if their next project or their next several projects, I don't know how big the studio was, their next project was something that was another knockout indie hit or whatever, or in like the same lines, PlayStation could have said like, I don't, from the amount of Concrete Genie actually made versus the amount we're putting money into you guys, is not really looking that great. So it end up May getting axed. So yeah, so that's one of the reasons. So hopefully, again, hopefully they get rehomed or something like that. But I think Sony is definitely very conscious about how expensive video games are now currently, and they're a business, not a soup kitchen, so they got to make their money back some way, one way or another. And if their large audience is the single player bombastic Hollywood style narrative driven focus, then that's the direction that they're going to end up taking.
Okay, all right. Brother Matt, what is your thoughts about this whole thing? Because as we know, the community really beat up on Redfall and was talking about Arcane shutting down because this game was because Redfall just wasn't it, and the possibility of studios being shut down under Xbox and stuff like that. And now you see this happen with Sony. What are your kind of thoughts on that whole thing?
I mean, it sucks. I feel like more studios is a good thing because just more games. Concrete Genie, I can't really speak on it because I never gave it a shot. I haven't played it. I don't know anything about it. So I can't pretend that I do. But it sucks to see them closing down a studio. As for, I know you mentioned Redfall there. As for that, it's like I feel like if Arcane was never shut down outside of the umbrella of Microsoft, like they make critically acclaimed games, but it's just they don't sell well ever. Like they just never do. Like as much as I think Prey is a masterpiece, Dishonored, they didn't sell well. So it's like if they weren't shut down before, I don't think that's ever a worry now. I feel like if anything now they have more room to make a mistake like they did with Redfall. They have more room to take that creative chance. Which, some cases it works, sometimes it doesn't, and that's fine. But as for this specific scenario, yeah, it sucks. And you asked Deli about if PlayStation maybe was getting away from smaller titles,
right?
And Cozy brought up the PS3 generation, which for me that was my favorite PlayStation generation. Obviously, the PS2 was great; it was fantastic, but the PS3 was like my favorite generation for PlayStation, where it was like they had so much variety and they leaned heavily on all of that variety. They had FPS games, they had smaller titles, they had bigger titles. Obviously, Uncharted started that generation, Last of Us started that generation, but they had so much going on. Whereas I think in the PS4 generation, they kind of heavily towards the end of the PS3 generation and into the PS4 generation, they kind of heavily shifted into big AAA, over the top, hundreds of $1 million of cost type of games, where it's that's what their fans love. And I do love those games. Ghost of Tsushima was fantastic. Last of Us 1 and 2, I loved it. I love those games. But when you lean so heavily into it, I wonder, because I don't know, but I wonder if that does kind of limit your ability to take risk on something like a Concrete Genie or something like whatever they would be working on next. Maybe you're not so interested in taking that risk financially. I don't know. But it's something to think about. It's something to think about, definitely.
Yeah, I mean, if I'm giving my opinion on it, I mean, we've seen Sony talk about how, some of them games that they have that are fantastic games just aren't hitting the numbers that they would like to see.
Yeah.
So this may just be them, I mean, in all honesty, and I think it is, them just trimming the fat for what they for their current, direction of their company. They want to keep pumping out great games, and as Deli said, this isn't a soup kitchen. This is not a soup kitchen. They're not just here to just give people money and say, you know what, give me the best you got. No. They want confidence, and they want it now. They're not going to sit around and wait for hopes and dreams to appear. So
yeah, because they sell the console at a loss, so they got to make up some kind of money, right?
Yeah.
So, and games do the talk, and they're a software company. Games they have hardware, yes, but they're they sell software, so games have to do the talking. And if we look at, again, historically, if Concrete Genie barely made the sales charts, coming in at 35 out of 40 for the holiday season, I'm sorry, but that's just not a good look, and again, historically, creativity doesn't always pay, and it's just one of those sad truths about the world. Again, they're a business, not a soup kitchen, and there's really not much more you can do when they pull the trigger and say, hey, you guys got to go.
Yeah,
no doubt. So this is the last topic that we have for today, and this topic makes me frustrated, salty, not happy, because I was somebody that purchased a Steam Deck just a few weeks before this thing got announced.
Me too. Let's go.
And I'm just like, damn it. Like, Steam Deck is phenomenal. Like, don't get me wrong. It's a great piece of hardware. But dang, man, did I miss? Did I catch the wrong bus? I'm interested. What are your guys' thoughts on the new Asus ROG Ally? I'm gonna go to you first, Cozy, because I'm really interested to hear what you got to say about this, because I know you're a handheld gal. So go on ahead and spit your bars about this.
Man, I've been like, I'm one of those people who's like, I want a Steam Deck, but like, I don't want it that bad, especially since a lot of my PC gaming is keyboard and mouse. But beyond that, I'm a lazy PC gamer. I don't do any sort of thing that requires work, right? And this device just seems to have checked so much more lists than Steam Deck. So I might bite. Maybe.
You might bite. Okay, that's interesting to hear that you're thinking about purchasing something at a premium price. How about you, Deli? Is this ROG Ally something that you're looking forward to getting, or is this something that you just don't even care about? Like, where are you at on this?
Considering I only use my Nintendo Switch in handheld mode when I had it, and I never docked it. I just don't believe in the that version of the form factor. I believe if you sell me on something, I should use it as intended. I am a fan of handheld gaming. The thing is, I don't have a Steam Deck. I've been holding off on it. It's so easy to make this purchase. I've been actually weaning myself off of it. I've been gaslighting and telling myself that I don't need it. And then I see the ROG Ally come out. And the one thing that I know I said to everyone online was that if it had good battery life, then I will definitely be looking into it. And it looks like it's got a decent amount of battery life. I think I heard somewhere around 2 hours on AAA gaming, which is actually very impressive. I'm rarely outside of the house for more than 2 hours, and I'm rarely out. And if I'm traveling or anything like that, then I'm rarely sitting for 2 hours alone playing something. So yeah, I think that it would be a great purchase, and it seems like a very, very strong contender, and a price point that is actually very, very attractive, comparable to the Steam Deck. So yeah, I'm interested, but I think I'm going to wait a little bit more and try to see if the Ally gets ironed out a little bit more, or if it had any kinks at all in the first place. Because I'm always hesitant on the first generation of any product. And Asus has been, I'm a fan of Asus stuff, so yeah, Asus has been fairly consistent with that kind of stuff. But the Steam Deck has unparalleled support when it comes to actually Steam and Valve in general. So yeah, I think that they both make very, very comparable arguments. But yeah, I think I'm leaning more towards the Ally currently, but I think I'm going to give it a little bit more time.
Okay, you want to see it cook a little bit. You want to see other people trying out those experiences. You don't want to be the test dummy for the bugs.
Well, the test dummy and the bugs and stuff like that. And I don't want to have a terrible experience on launch and then put it down and say, oh, well, I'll come back to it, and then it'll be a year, or then it'll be 2 years. And that's what mostly I'm afraid of. So yeah, you have to kind of make an active effort to play on handheld, especially if you're at home all the time. So yeah, I think that I think that there is a use case for it for me in my life. I'm just waiting for it to become abundantly clear.
Fair enough. Fair enough. Now, Matt, I know that you're not just gonna jump out and purchase this thing day one at all, because you're pretty set with your Steam Deck, and I just want to know from you: is there any chance for you to see this thing, let's say 6 months after it comes out? Do you think that you would be trading in that Steam Deck at all to possibly, or trying to sell it at all to possibly get something like this? Like, let's say that they're just like, man, this thing runs Hellblade phenomenally, but the Steam Deck can't handle it at all. Or some other game like Starfield or something like that. Would that change your mind towards it? Would that make you actually go out and say, you know what? Screw it. I'm buying it.
I feel like if I'm making any 600 or 700, because I'd be getting the 699 one if I got one. If I'm making any purchase for $700, it's probably a new GPU. And like the next, you said 6 months after its launch. I mean, I'd probably wait to see what happens with Steam Deck's next iteration. Because now that I know I can get Windows on there, now that I know the mistakes I was making trying to get Windows on there that made it so difficult the first 2 times, it's like I'm not too worried about putting Windows on another Steam Deck if I have to get one. The only reason I would wait for Steam Deck is because of the price point. The price point with Asus is very competitive, but you know they have that lower end model for the Steam Deck for $400, and you got the one in the middle. It's like 530, 529, something like that, which is the one I have. I'm looking for that price point. I want to see what the tech is inside of that, and if it's up to snuff with what's going on with the Asus ROG, then I would probably go with the Steam Deck again. Just put Windows on it myself. But, got to wait to see when that gets announced. So, probably later this year, I would imagine. Early next year. But I'm not in a rush to go out and buy this, although it does look awesome. I cannot lie to you. It does look awesome.
Yeah, I'm jealous. Picture me jealous. I wish I would have waited just a little bit longer. Just that's all it needed, man. But just a couple more weeks, and I would have been like, oh, okay. Let me wait until this thing comes out and see what this is about and stuff like that. Because man, damn, I'm a little flustered with it. But I tell you what, my Steam Deck has been doing everything that I wanted to do, especially like shout out to Kay Asante for hooking a brother up with all the directions and things that I need to do to get Windows on there to run properly and not be a resource hog and whatever. So I'm pretty happy with what I got. I can play a game like Halo, no problem. I tried Redfall. Not so good. Not so good. So those are maybe the type of games that I'm kind of curious as to how the Asus ROG or ROG Ally, however you want to say it, however that runs some of these games that I'm just like, this looks rough on this thing or whatnot, before I make a decision. And I think I'd at least wait another year to even dive back into another handheld, because I mean, I'm gonna be real. I play my handheld like 3% of my gaming goes to my Steam Deck. The other 97 is like my Series X and Xbox, and I actually play my classic games, my Sega and my 64 and 3DO. I play that stuff more than I play my Steam Deck. So what do I look like running out and spending another $700 for something I'm gonna be playing 3% of the time? So although I'm a little salty about it, I'm not like, it's not gonna ruin my experience, or I don't feel like I'm missing out on too much, because really all that handheld is my Xbox on a handheld. Really, because that's what I'd use it for. I just use it for Game Pass.
Same.
I wouldn't be using it to buy games to play day one on. It would be literally the console that I use when I'm out of town and I don't want to lug my $500 box with me somewhere. Which is wild to say because that handheld is more than my Xbox.
Yeah.
But it's just the convenience factor of it and all that stuff and whatnot. So
well, I mean, you don't have to lug around a TV and any cables or anything. You just need to charge it up right then and there. You can even charge it up in the car. You know,
absolutely.
If you carry around a Series S, you gotta have a monitor, or God forbid your hotel doesn't support. Hook it up at HDMI inside the thing.
Oh my goodness, that's the most frustrating.
Too many. It was like, yeah, we disabled that feature. Why don't you just stab me instead?
Jeez Louise. All right, well, you guys, this is the end of the show right here. I'm going to go on ahead and wrap it up. It's been a fantastic time. Shout out to King David that had to leave just a little earlier during the episode. He had some fantastic takes. Deli, please go on ahead and let everybody know where they can find you. I know you're on Twitter and whatnot, but where else could they possibly find you? Where are you regularly at?
I'm actually most regularly on Twitter. I do have a Discord server, but it's not public. It's not for public access at the moment right now because I feel like I still need to kind of, actually put in some work to put some time in before people come in on it. But I'm on YouTube. I kind of post videos. I say that loosely. I kind of post YouTube videos. I'm trying to, but I think that it's not really top priority right now. So I kind of post when I can. But yeah, you can most regularly find me on Twitter. It's the fastest way to reach me if you don't have my phone number. And so yeah, because it sends notifications right to my phone. So yeah, that's just at twitter.com/agentdeli. Yep, that's the best way to reach me.
There you go. Fantastic. And actually, I'm going to have Matt shout out where he does his stuff at because you never do that here. So I'm going to give you that opportunity to just let everybody know where they can find you and whatnot because you have your own channel that you do your own content on. And you've been hitting some more numbers than you were hitting previously. So congratulations to you.
Things are looking good. I appreciate it. I mean, okay, so you can find me on YouTube, Matt Likes Games, videos every Monday, Wednesday, Friday. On Sundays at 8 p.m. Eastern, you can find me over on the Game Drain with him solo and Hard Days Mike, and it's me, Twan. We do our own show, The Game Drain, every Sunday, 8 p.m. Eastern. And then on Twitter, you can find me at Matt Likes Games. Follow me over there. Check me out. See what I'm doing.
Fantastic and cozy. It's been a while. It is awesome to have you back on the channel. Get your crazy takes. One thing that I haven't seen in a long time that doesn't need to come back is your crazy food.
You know what? That's because I've that the rest of this food is in storage.
You want it to get nice and old before you eat it, right?
Yeah, I'm gonna get nice and old, then I'll come back and eat it. Also, that the egg, I think that crossed the line, maybe.
The egg?
It was delicious.
Oh yeah, that egg.
It was delicious. It was delicious.
Yeah,
that
was different. But are we able to count on Cozy to be coming on to more shows in the near future?
Yes. My Fridays are free again. So I should be here regularly again. I have something. I'll let you know when I have things that prohibit me from coming. But for the most part, my Fridays are free.
Well, it's fantastic to have you back, Cozy. We've missed you. I know Loke has been needing somebody to smack him upside the head up. Yeah, keep him honest. Keep him honest because you know how he is when he does quiz time on the show and whatnot. He's an ass. But anyways, it was fantastic having everybody in the chat. Thank you guys for showing up. Those of you that are new subscribers, welcome. Make sure you guys hit that like button. And those of you that are just watching that are not in the chat, hit that subscribe button. Come back, check us out. We always got content going on Tuesday through Friday. Love doing this these shows for you guys or whatnot. I appreciate y'all. Thank you so much. And thank you to my panel today as well. It's been a phenomenal show. Make sure you guys catch up next Tuesday. I believe Loke may be back for the lowdown. I got some other awesome shows lined up. So just keep your eyes peeled and keep a lookout for your boy Ham and Loke on the TSWS Gaming YouTube channel. But this is Ham Solo from this channel, like I just got done saying keep it gaming or keep it moving. Peace out, y'all.
See it.